Check 1 2 check.
You know what? God is good. And because he is so good, we are loved. All the time. God is good. But we are not good all the time. See, left to our own devices, we can be some bad apples. And sometimes we can produce some bad fruit. But through God's goodness and his mercy, he made a way that we can still have relationship with him. Now, we are good to the core because of redemption. It's not about how bad we can be. It's about how good God is and how he took a sinner like you and a sinner like me, and he created us for a purpose. We're talking about it all. The good, the bad, the wins, the losses, life, love, and all of the above. This is the Bad Apples Podcast. Grab your coffee and lower your expectations because this show is what proves that anybody with a Wi-Fi connection can have a podcast.
That is so true. So true. Well, hey, welcome to episode number 77 of the Bad Apples Podcast. I'm Garrett. I'm here with my friend Cody.
Oh my gosh, 77. 77. Dude, that's the biblical number for the Bad Apples Podcast.
What?
It's our year.
7 times
This
7?
This is our season. Hallelujah.
We're like mid-season. What are you talking about?
We're in a new season.
No, we're not. We're in
Yes,
the
we are.
same season.
Yes, we are. I'm about to prophesy.
Oh, okay.
Hold on.
All right. Hey, well, this is not that kind of podcast. So if you're tuning in for the very first time, don't freak out.
Yeah, please do freak out.
But we're glad that you're here. And so, hey, I do want to shout out my friend Cody. So we are on episode 77, which kind of feels like a modern miracle. But it wouldn't happen without Cody's dedication to making this happen. Like we always record at his house, and we got flooded out of the basement. So now we're in his office, and he does all the production work on it. And he even listens to me when I say he needs to cut certain things out.
Oh, for sure.
Because they're, just a little bit too uncomfortable for me. So
I listen to everything you say, really.
I know.
Except about magic tricks.
What about, you don't like magic tricks?
No, man, come on.
Dude, I've been working on some.
Oh, gosh.
I would show you one right now, but the podcast listeners wouldn't really care.
They wouldn't get it?
No, they wouldn't get it.
Yeah, so we actually got anti-flooded out of our basement. So my good friend Jeremy, also my landlord.
What up, Jeremy?
He had the basement waterproofed.
Oh, that was what it was.
So that's what it was. So
my bad.
We got anti-flooded. So now it cannot be flooded. It would be very hard to flood the basement.
Okay.
Very hard.
Very
difficult.
Very difficult.
Very difficult. But hey, we this is just a labor of love for us. And we love listening to you. And Stone Cold Steve Austin says, I just opened up a can of podcast on you.
Oh, gosh. All right. So we're excited about the episode today. We got some good stuff to talk about. It's going to be kind of chill, I think. We've got a basketball game on in the background. A little March Madness time. We are sipping on some new coffee. And for the first time, ladies and gentlemen, the first time, when Cody says what he's about to say, it's real and true.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Cody. Tell us about our coffee.
Shout out to Wildcat Coffee Roasters. They sent me a bag of coffee.
Did you send them any money for the coffee?
There was no money exchange.
So this was a gift to the podcast for us to talk about this coffee.
Yeah, a gift from a friend.
Yeah,
Graham,
we're gonna take it.
Yeah, we're gonna take it. This is for the. So yeah, Graham. What up, man? He started roasting his own coffee in his kitchen. In his West Virginia kitchen. And so we are enjoying.
I mean, the bag looks official. So,
dude, look at this artwork. I don't know. I didn't ask him who did the artwork, but I love it.
ChatGPT.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. And so Wildcat Coffee Roasters. This is Mountain Mamba. This is a blend. It's got some Guatemala in there. Got some Ethiopia. Got some Sumatra. It's a medium to dark roast.
It's very good.
I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's really good.
I like it a lot.
And you drank most of it.
I did.
Before we got to this point.
I did. Yes, I did. There's just a little bit left. You can hear it. You can hear it drink. Oh, come on.
Yeah, shake it like a salt shaker. Man, I got tongue tied on that one. My bad.
I like that. That's a good rap reference for you.
Shake it like a salt shaker.
Yeah.
Jeez. Anyway, yeah, this is great. I mean, it really is. And for the first time ever. So what did you say his name? Graham?
Graham, yeah.
Graham, thank you.
Yeah, man.
For the coffee's great, but mostly thank you for making Cody's dreams come true.
Someone sent me a bag of coffee.
He's always wanted somebody to hook him up with something.
Yeah.
You know, from
so that I can say it.
Yeah, from the hats that he's wearing. He's like, oh, man, I want to thank Seeger for hooking me up with this nice hat.
Speaking of Seeger,
yeah,
check this brand new hat out.
I only had to pay $45 for it.
No, I didn't pay that much.
I know, but I'm just saying.
I lost my headphones here. But we're still in it.
Seeger is expensive. Those are expensive hats.
I mean,
they're real proud of them.
I didn't pay that much. I paid $30.
Okay,
I feel like 30 is
still. I feel like that's.
I feel like 30 is where hats are.
It's probably the going rate for hats. I get it, but
yeah.
I still don't like it.
Yeah,
I don't like it.
You don't like my hat?
No, I like your hat. Your hat's fine.
Yeah,
but I don't like that clothes are so expensive.
It really is frustrating.
Remember back in the day when jeans were like $20, sweatshirts were like $20,
dude.
T-shirts were $10.
I actually need jeans.
Yeah,
and I won't do it.
They're $60.
Like I just won't pull the trigger on it because it's just so crazy.
Yeah,
So, yeah, and I got these old pair of American Eagle jeans that I've had for probably 7 or 8 years, and they're holding on. They're too big for me, which is a great problem to have. But they're holding on by this little thread. That like if I bend over the wrong way one day, it's gonna be busted like my bracket. You hear me?
Oh my goodness!
You know what I mean?
Oh my goodness!
Lord Jesus, help me.
Hey, this year for March Madness, you know what we didn't do?
We didn't do a preacher bracket.
We didn't do a preacher bracket.
That's okay.
Yeah, it really is.
But that was fun.
Instead, this year we're doing the battle of the worship bands. No, I'm just kidding.
I like
worship
that.
Bands. That'd be funny.
So who? This is maybe off topic. Who is your like go-to worship band right now? Like, who do you listen to if you're turning on some worship?
Oh man, I don't know. Probably, I'm a big Pat Barrett, House Fires.
I knew you were.
Who else do I really listen to a lot of their stuff? I mean, I keep up kinda with Elevation. I still am like, I'm a sucker for Hillsong United,
bro.
I go back and listen to the old stuff there.
Tell the world, man.
Oh man,
come on, take it all. Tell the world.
Yep.
I have such a heart, such a connection with that United We Stand album.
Oh yeah. Well, I was thinking like the I Heart Revolution.
That's great. That's a great one too.
That's great. And then Live in Miami.
Another good one.
I think that's my favorite worship album of all time.
Yeah,
Live in Miami.
I was going through some of their music the other day and just really missing them. Like I really want to hear Hillsong United again. I don't know if they're letting like controversy die down or whatever they're doing, but
I don't know, man. It's got to be hard to write songs in this.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So,
but I'm with you on Pat Barrett. I just listened to his newest solo album the other day. And it's so good. It's like 7 songs, and it's so like good and intimate and kind of chill, and it's worshipy, but it's also kind of just, hey, I can chill to this and study to this.
Yep.
But I do wish, I love House Fires. House Fires, I love them.
Yeah.
But I do wish he was still connected to them as far as like on the actual live albums.
Yeah.
And now Nate Moore is not even like doing stuff with them as much. So I think it's kind of a bummer, but that sort of vibe. I usually will turn on a radio station, like a Spotify station, just listen to stuff that is in that vein. But I asked that question because,
what about you? What's your answer? Before you tell me why you asked that question,
I'm really big into Stephen McWhirter right now. Stephen McWhirter. He used to be with a band called Iron Bell Music.
Okay.
He's got an incredible, raspy, beautiful voice, and his worship is just, you could tell he's really worshiping in the so he's on the new House Fires album. Cool. He's on there several times. He's got the song "Come Jesus Come," which is hitting right now. It's kind of popular.
I'll have to check him out.
Yeah, I got to meet him.
Really?
Yeah, he came to my home church in West Virginia when they were Iron Bell.
Okay.
My home church pastor booked them, and they came as Iron Bell Music, and he was so cool. Just hung out with everybody.
Oh, that's cool.
And Iron Bells, they had some great music, but he went solo, and they're not doing stuff anymore. So I'm really big into him. I'm really big into I love House Fires. I'm on the fence with Maverick City.
Okay.
I was really into Maverick City when their albums were like super intimate, and it was just very like small gatherings of live worship. Now I just think they're too big for their britches, and I'm not as into them, but they still got some good songs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like Elevation. I love Brandon Lake.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Brandon Lake. I don't know, man. I'll listen to Bethel sometimes too, but like if it sounds like it's regurgitated, I just don't want to listen to it.
Yeah, I got you. Now, I just kind of a shout out to the worship band at Hope, man. They've been really good,
Killing it.
really, really good,
Killing it.
and Jackson does a great job, but so does PJ. And,
Yeah, man.
And we have so many other talented worship leaders, though.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That, Jackson and PJ are they're paid worship leaders at Hope, but we've got lots of people like Aaron Hayes that are great.
Yeah.
Does
Is that the guy that
really
was
good
this
job.
morning?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And just like, we've got tons of really great talent. We got lots of, women who are just stupid talented.
Bring it. Yeah, they bring it.
And so we're in a really cool spot right now.
Yeah.
I hope. Just watching.
Yeah. I asked the question initially because I feel like I'm struggling to find a I don't know. I feel like I've gotten bored with some worship music lately.
Yeah.
So I've just been trying to find that pocket of, hey, this sounds different and new.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Maybe that sounds bad to say, but
I don't know. I never really thought about that.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think for me with worship music, listening to it's great. Singing along while you're listening to it's great. I really like to play it. Like that's where I'm going to be.
For sure.
I'm going to feel the most connection there is when I've got my guitar, and whether I'm in front of other people or I'm just by myself, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Just doing that on your own, it's a really, really special thing.
Yeah.
So, it's a good question. We should talk more about worship music sometime.
I think so. Both of us have a background in music, and we really tend to hit good topics or hit good convo when we have convos about music.
Yeah.
And we can go deep with a lot of that. So.
Well, and I think too, like for me, one of the things that's important with like worship music is my favorite moments of worship are not typically in a big arena or even
Correct.
in church with the stage and everything else.
Correct. Yeah.
It's usually something that's a little bit more subdued.
Yep.
And that's that's always really special. I like being able to kind of move from song to song and just kind of tie themes and messages together that way.
I love that.
So
I love the medleys and but the very intimate acoustic. That's why I love House Fires and Stephen McWhirter so much. And like I said, Maverick City at the beginning, because it felt like you were in this room.
Right.
And you were having this moment.
Yeah.
These moments of worship. Speaking of moments, there's a group called Upper Room.
Yeah. Okay.
They are incredible. And what made me think of that is their albums are called Moments.
Okay.
And it's just literally them worshiping, and it all just flows. And it's just, I love stuff like that.
Yeah.
I love stuff like that so much.
And it takes a lot of talent to be able to do that. Like,
Yeah.
and do that in such a way that people want to listen to it.
Right.
There's a difference in, I can make up little medleys and whatnot.
Yeah, for sure.
But there's a difference in what I'm doing versus what people are doing, where it's like really good and can be put on an album and people will buy it and they connect with it, or they, whatever that is. I mean, that's really special to be able to pull all of that together. So, but yeah, I really, I always appreciate those kinds of stripped back moments where it's just
nothing like it, man.
Yep. Just people together singing to Jesus. And I think that's what I mean, that's how I primarily connect via worship. But
Same.
yeah. So anyway, okay. We talked about our coffee.
Yes.
We talked about this little tangent into
Yeah, a little sidebar there.
a little bit of worship thing. But a couple things. You know, like I said, we do have the basketball game going in the background for Illinois. They are down by 3 right now. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but it's about to get tied up right here.
Kentucky.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Nope, it's not it. But they did get the rebound. So, anyhow, we got March Madness going on. Who do you have in your Final Four?
So I do multiple brackets.
Right.
I don't have my phone. I don't remember who I put, but I have my main kind of bracket that I have. I'm pretty sure I have Alabama and Florida in the championship.
Okay, I gotcha.
And I think it was like, gosh, I can't remember the other 2 teams I had in there who I had them beating.
Illinois.
Yeah, right. It wasn't all number 1 seeds. Like
Houston.
Houston, maybe. Yeah, I don't remember.
Michigan State.
Michigan State, I had in one of my Final Fours.
Yeah,
I did have them kind of going on a run there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember, man. I know I have Tennessee. I have in one of them. I'm pretty sure I have Tennessee getting beat in the Final Four. And who do they face? Maybe I can't remember, man.
Florida about lost to Gonzaga.
I know, it was crazy.
That was an intense game.
It was crazy. If Florida can, you know, just what I've watched of Florida this year, they're so incredible.
Yeah.
But you never know in March Madness.
No.
You think, you know, oh man, they're going to run the floor with everybody.
Yeah.
But you literally never know in March Madness. I don't feel like there's been any major upsets.
No, there
year,
hasn't.
Though. Like,
there's nothing that's like shocking.
Like Clemson got beat, but no one had Clemson going.
It's not like that year.
Farther.
Like, was it Oral Roberts or something?
Oh man, crazy year.
Did it go? They went down to Sweet 16, didn't they?
Yeah,
they didn't make it to the Elite 8. Did they?
No, I don't think so. But they
made it around to 16, which is pretty crazy.
I remember the year that it was a school called George Mason.
Okay,
they went. This was a long time ago. This was like 2011, 2012. They went far. They went on a huge run.
Yeah.
And then you had the years that the Loyola Chicago team. They beat Illinois one year when they had a couple good players and was projected to win some games. And it's just crazy what can happen.
Yeah, it's fun to watch. It's really cool to watch some of these smaller schools get in there, and then you know, like, and they play well and they play with a lot of heart.
Yeah, it's fun to see like the schools you've never heard of. Like this McNeese school, have you seen McNeese State? Well, they're a viral sensation because their student manager or whatever.
Oh yes, yeah. Okay,
so he's got like over $100,000 in NIL deals now, and it's crazy, and I don't know why.
For the manager,
yeah, for the student manager, his nickname is Aura.
Because he like hypes him up and stuff?
Hypes him up, walks out with the team with like a boombox playing, and like he's just got this, you know, it blows my mind. And the coach just accepted a job to NC State.
Okay.
And he's going with him.
Oh my
so
gosh.
I'm like, what a sellout.
That's why, hey man.
But it's a bigger school, you know.
$100,000 in NIL money.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's going with the coach.
For carrying a boombox? Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out, like I went on a kind of a dive last night trying to figure out, and it's literally just viral sensation. Like, this guy wasn't known really other than at the school before March Madness and before like he walked out with the team, and that was, you know, and I've never even heard of McNeese State. I don't know where they are.
I don't know.
You know, but they got beat by Purdue.
Oh, well, you have that.
But they're the ones that beat Clemson.
Okay.
So that was the upset there, and then they got beat by Purdue.
I got you. Well, I heard one of the sportscasters said that they think that we're going to see an end to these small schools even showing up at this tournament because with NIL, once NIL takes kind of full effect, transfer portal,
it kind of gets on my nerves a little bit, like as a fan, because you had teams like SIUE, this very small school. You got a team like McNeese State. You got teams like, you know, Alabama State, who I'm not saying they don't deserve to be there, but we all know you're going to lose
Yeah.
Most of the time in the first round. But then you got a team like West Virginia, who actually was really good this year.
Yeah.
They had 6 quad 1 wins, and they get snubbed over UNC.
And then they lose in the first round.
And then UNC loses, gets killed in the first round. But they still made all this money off of getting seeded in the first round, and the guy who was over picking him was a UNC guy.
Yeah, right.
So it just I'm like, come on, man. And then our coach just dips and bounces to Indiana after all this. So like, what was really the decision there? Because you didn't base it on wins, because we actually did have a good season,
right? And
you had good wins, and how did we not qualify? But someone like McNeese State or SIUE, in Southern Illinois.
Did Edwardsville make it to the tournament this year?
Yes, they played a number 1 team and they got absolutely destroyed.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember who they played, but they got destroyed.
Yikes!
I think it was a number 1 team. It was a high seeded team. They played.
I would imagine so. But
yeah, I mean, it was. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Because my friend Matt, he was joking with me because I came to school that day, and I was like, "You got to be kidding me! West Virginia didn't get in. We had the new coach. And they said, oh, it was because your star player wasn't healthy. Well, the star player is the coach's son, and of course he's now in the transfer portal with the dad who's going to Indiana. He's going to Indiana with him. Yeah. So it's just
they know that Indiana's not going to get
but whatever.
They're a basketball school,
and like hell hath no fury. Like a West Virginia scorned. So the governor is actually calling for an investigation into the NCAA. I'm like,
there we go.
I'm like, chill out a little bit. Like,
do it.
Other teams got snubbed too.
Yeah,
but
abuse that power. Do it.
Right.
This is the kind of thing we want to see people abuse power for.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I would be okay with them doing away with the small schools.
Yeah. And really? I love that. Like the dream, man. Like,
I know.
What was that? It's down in Kentucky. They was it McMurray? McMurray college that did well.
Moorhead or I don't know. Probably McMurray. Sounds familiar.
I think so. Anyway, there was one last year that did well. That's kind of a smaller school. Anyway, but March Madness. Yeah, it's wild times.
It's madness.
It is madness.
I do love it. I do love I think about the times, think about Davidson when Seth Curry was there and he went on the 40-point run.
Don't know. Yeah, I don't watch basketball.
He was he was at Davidson and they went on a massive run and knocked off these top seeded teams and this was when you could see the pictures of him when he was there. He looks like a baby.
Yeah,
and and that stuff is like that is fun.
Yeah,
but
I like the format of this tournament. I mean, it's just such a cool prospect. I mean, that it's win or go home, and it starts at 64 teams, right? And then
man, and it's just
win or go home. And what other sport can you do that with?
None.
None.
It's so fun, and I do love. Like I had at school the other day, we had game projected. I had my computer on, my phone on, my other computer on, and we just had so much fun,
Yeah, I appreciate the late night games too. So
yeah, man.
Anyway, now before we get into our topic though, for today, like our talkie talk, you last episode said, "Hey, we want to hear from you."
Yeah, man.
Because I don't know if you guys know this, but Cody texts me at least twice a week and just tells me, like, man, we're famous.
Yeah,
we are. I don't know where these listeners are coming from.
Yeah,
but they're turning out in droves.
Yeah.
So, when your buddy Graham starts selling more Wildcat coffee than he's ever sold in his life, he's got to buy a bigger house so he can have a bigger kitchen to roast this stuff in. This is the kind of stuff we need to be telling people because we got so many listeners. I mean, Graham's not ready for what's about to happen to him. Anyway, but you text me about twice a week and let me know that we're just bursting at the seams. And so then last episode, you're like, hey, we want to hear from you. So send us an email at, what's our email handle?
BadApplesConnect@gmail.com.
I could remember what dumb word is after Bad Apples.
You know what? One day we're going to come in here and we're going to be on this episode and we're going to be recording and I'm going to drop it at the end. I'm going to say, go to badapplespodcast.com.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to happen.
We're going to have
We're going to have
website. I know somebody that can hook us up with that. But
yeah, for sure. It's easy to do.
Yeah, sure. What would we do with the website, though? We'd have to have like a store.
Oh, yeah, we would.
Yeah, so if we had a, the Bad Apples official merch,
we should get a Patreon and have people subscribe and pay to listen to us.
Oh man, we could do a bonus episode. We could do a kitchen episode.
That's true.
People may pay for that. I don't know.
Yeah, you remember?
Probably not. I'm just really, again, this is a labor of love.
You remember that one time a few months ago I was doing bonus episodes?
Mm-hmm. I think we got a bonus.
We got one bonus episode, but then
those are like our bonus checks.
But I realized I thought it was really good. But I realized I thought, man, that should be exclusive content. Like that should be the exclusive instead of just throwing it out there. Because if we're doing another episode, I don't want it to be without you. I want it to be with you because I don't want to do anything in my life without you.
Oh man,
warms
my heart.
I would marry you if it was appropriate.
Okay, all right. So. All right, we are moving and grooving. So, you said that you wanted people to reach out to us and send us some emails.
I did.
badapplesconnect@gmail.com.
Oh yeah.
So, all
right,
we got emails.
We did get emails.
Well, 4 of them.
Yeah.
I think that we could just read one.
Yeah.
And then it would be awesome if y'all would keep sending emails. Send us questions.
Yes. If you're really listening, that like my stats are saying you are, send us an email at BadApplesConnect.
More than questions, here's what I want. It's like every time we say something that you don't agree with, that's what we want to hear about.
That's true.
If we tell you that a movie stinks.
That's true. Well, Troy Piper already texts me all the stuff he disagrees with.
Yeah, I love that.
Me too.
We need that kind of dialogue because this is your podcast too.
That's true, man. This is their conversation.
Yeah, right.
And I love that. I really do.
Yeah. So, we want to hear from you. We want to make this podcast great. Yeah. So, you make it great by being involved. But why don't you pick one? Okay. I've not seen any of these. So,
let's see.
You pick one that you want to read. And
all right, I'm gonna pick my good friend Toby from Decatur, Illinois.
What's up, Toby?
Hey. Delivering the mail. He's out delivering the mail, and he's listening to the podcast. He says, hey, what's up? Listening in Decatur, Illinois. Love it. Appreciate you both. Blessings from Toby.
Thanks, Toby.
Yeah, thanks, Toby.
Yeah. Well, anyway, y'all should send us emails, too.
Yeah.
And give us stuff to talk about.
For sure. So, and one day, we'll have live callers.
I feel like we should probably do something really quick to upset people. That way they have something to...
What can we?
All right, so
say? I can say something. I don't know what I can say.
I know it. I'm trying to think of one of your opinions that are spicy.
Yes, get me
how
going.
I can get you. But nothing serious. So okay, you really like basketball.
I do.
So out of like what we would consider top sports, like soccer. Basketball. Hang on.
Oh no! Wait a minute.
Hang on. Soccer, basketball, baseball.
Soccer sucks.
Hockey.
Are you ranking
football? No, I'm asking you to rank them. What am I missing here?
Dodgeball.
No, come on. Like that people watch regularly. I mean, we could throw in golf.
Yeah.
You watch tennis ever?
No.
Have you ever watched tennis?
Gosh.
Have you ever watched golf?
No. Yeah, sometimes in the Masters, I'll turn it on.
Okay.
As like background noise.
What am I missing?
I think that's it. I think you hit them.
So, basketball.
Okay.
Baseball.
Okay.
Hockey.
Yep.
Football.
Soccer.
Ugh. Okay.
And then tennis, if we're going there.
We're not doing tennis.
Yeah, thank God.
Or the Olympics. We'll put the Olympics.
Okay. Hate the Olympics.
Oh, really? Okay. So, all right. Rank them 6 to 1. 6 being the worst.
Okay, so I'm going to go on my preference.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking for.
Okay, I'm not going to judge it on the world's preference. Basketball, football.
Oh, this is number 1.
Yes, number 1 is basketball.
Okay.
Number 2 is football.
Okay.
Number 3 is baseball.
Okay.
Number 4 is hockey.
Okay.
Number 5, this is tough because I would never put soccer in my top 5, but I'll go soccer.
Ahead of the Olympics.
Because I hate watching these people do random sports in the Olympics.
Oh, man. See, all right.
But I want you to know that I hate soccer. I mean, I may watch tennis before I'd watch soccer.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you'd watch soccer before the Olympics?
That's not very American of me, but I'm going to say it. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Take that, Olympics.
I see. I enjoy the Olympics. I don't understand your bitterness towards the Olympics.
I don't know either.
I like I like all the Olympics.
I don't have a good reason.
You know, it's super fun.
I don't like this whole thing where they're like shuffling a disc and they're all. I don't like it.
The shuffleboard is not in the Olympics. You know,
they're doing this thing. They got this like.
Are you
broom.
talking about curling?
Yeah, whatever. They're doing it with, they have this broom.
I love curling. Curling's so fun.
They're doing this thing all the way down ice or something, and I just don't understand how that's a sport.
I imagine it's not easy.
Well, how is it hard?
Have you ever tried it?
No.
Yeah, see,
I've never even ice skated. The one time I did ice skate, my ankles buckled.
They don't skate either. They're standing on the ice.
They're not skating?
No.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Now, you know what? Hold on. Rewind. Olympics number 5. Because hockey and basketball are involved in the Olympics.
That's right.
So I'm going to put that because I do like watching Olympics hockey and Olympics basketball. However, I'll put soccer last, and I'll be happy about it.
Oh, there we go.
I'll be happy about it.
See, I think that for me, number 1, far and away, is football, followed abruptly by hockey. I think live hockey is the most fun thing in the whole
Really?
world. Playoff hockey, especially. Like,
for sure.
If you could get me to a playoff Blues game,
oh man,
I'd lose my mind.
Oh, I do love hockey.
Hockey is so fun. Anyway, so basketball, hockey, then probably.
Don't say it.
What did we say? There's baseball, there's basketball, there's the Olympics, and there's soccer. I'm going to go Olympics. There's 3. Then probably soccer, then basketball.
Basketball is under soccer?
Baseball?
Last. Baseball is last?
Yeah, dude, baseball on TV is the worst. Like,
what is you're un-American.
I'll take
you
it.
want to watch all the foreign run around and kick a ball, but you can't watch the great American pastime? You know how many hot dogs you can eat watching an amazing baseball game?
Yeah, you could eat the same number of hot dogs with soccer. Here's my thing I like about soccer. Soccer is bound by time. It's like at most I'm going to be tortured for 90 minutes in a soccer game. At most I'm going to be tortured for 90 minutes. With baseball, you don't know what you're getting into. There could be a rain delay.
That's the beauty of it.
There could be a rain delay.
There could be a rain delay in soccer.
That could go into extra innings. It could go into extra innings. Extra innings. You want to talk about being held hostage by a game.
I'm going to throw my computer.
I can do it. That's fine. I'm not saying I hate baseball. It's just my least favorite to watch on TV. Like, I like going to baseball games.
No, I will give you that. Give you that. It's much better live than watching on TV.
Right.
Unless it's recorded and you can skip through.
Yeah. I think soccer. Yeah, still soccer over basketball, probably. I don't know.
There's something so summer to me about sitting outside with a baseball game on in the middle of the day and just having a cigar and just enjoying the baseball game. You know,
I just don't enjoy baseball games. If I'm there, it's fun.
Now, here's what I don't enjoy about baseball, and it's why it's not higher on my list. It's because of the stats. I'm not good at figuring out all the crazy stats that they have.
Yeah.
And it's very hard. I just feel like that's a lot of math. And I just like basketball's simple. Who's got the rebound? Who got the assist? Who got the points? Who got that's simple. Who's got the,
Yeah.
But all of the stats and stuff and all the batting averages and the running the RBIs and all this stuff, it's hard. That's hard to figure out.
Well, they got to make it interesting somehow. That's what they're after.
Whatever.
Listen, man, I will go to, like, if there's somebody listening that's like, oh man, I was going to invite Garrett to a baseball game. No, I'm never going to do that. I like going to baseball games.
It is much better.
But if it's on in the background, you may as well not have anything on. I'm not watching it.
So let me ask you this. Does your ranking change if you're only asked what live sporting event you want to be at? Or are you only ranking it in terms of what you'd watch on TV?
I give my right leg to go to the Olympics, so, you know.
You'd give your right leg?
Maybe my left.
Magic shows and Olympics.
Dude, I you know how there is a big part of me that wants to make my way to LA in a few years to go to the Olympics.
Dude, Kendrick's going to be there.
Maybe.
They already said it.
We'll see. He might be in jail by then.
Who, Kendrick?
Yeah.
Why? Because he killed Drake's career?
Drake might get him.
Drake's not going to do anything.
You don't think so?
No, he's soft.
Oh.
He's suing him, man. Who sues over a rap battle?
I don't know.
Anyway, I would give my right leg to go to WrestleMania.
Don't they do like WrestleMania like 18 times a year?
2 times a year.
Okay.
2 nights. It's on Easter weekend, dude. I can't come to church that day.
You're ridiculous.
Like, that's WrestleMania week. That's like the Super Bowl of wrestling.
Fine. Yeah.
You know? Can I put wrestling in there instead of like soccer? Can I rank wrestling?
It's not a sport.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
It
WD is not
like you have to
no,
be. You have to be.
No.
You have to be athletic. You have to be an athlete.
No. Sport implies a contest.
There is a contest.
There is not a contest.
There is.
It is not.
There is.
Okay, when you watch Hoosiers, when you turn on the TV and you watch the movie Hoosiers,
okay,
it's like calling that a sport.
That is a sports basketball.
No, but the game's already been played and over. Somebody knows who wins at the end. Like, before the game begins, we know who wins.
Okay, hold on.
It's the same thing with WWE.
I think that
nobody's surprised.
There is a lot of surprise, actually.
Okay, the people that are in the arena.
But you still have to be athletic. I could go and do the stuff that they have that they do.
No, I mean, I think
it's called sports entertainment. That's what it's called.
Okay.
That's all right. Called. And dude, you got guys that played in Alabama. Like, you got athletes.
No, I'm not saying that the people that do WWE aren't athletic. I'm saying by definition, it's not a sport. Esports are more a sport.
By definition, it is a sport.
No, it's not.
That can't be true.
Yes, it is.
When you got people jumping up and down and doing crazy things.
I mean, it's impressive. I'm not saying
people can't do that.
Okay, it's like saying Cirque du Soleil is a sport.
Some people would.
No, it's
Some
not.
people would say cheerleading is a sport.
Okay. Is there a contest?
Are you going to say cheerleading is a sport?
If there's a contest, yes.
I think if you have to,
you have to have an objective winner.
I think if you have to compete, which you do, you have to compete for your win, and you have to compete for your place in WWE.
But no, that's the same as like Hollywood.
Creative. So I think if you're calling cheerleading a sport, you have to call WWE a sport.
No.
Yeah, you do.
It's art more than it is sport. It is art more than it is sport.
Sports entertainment.
It's art.
I'll take that. It's storytelling.
It is.
Yeah,
I agree. I'm not downplaying WWE. I'm just telling you it ain't a sport.
I do think it's a sport though. Okay, because there's no way that normal people can do what they're doing.
But that's not the definition of sport.
But they're athletes.
They're athletic. Yes, they are athletes in their own regard. I know that, like, I would even say that bodybuilders are more of like athletes, sports people than WWE, because again, there's an objective winner at the end of it. The problem with WWE,
I think there's an objective winner to people watching it.
Yes, but it's entertainment.
I don't know who's going to win.
That's right.
The creative knows who's going to win.
But it's the same thing. Like, if you turn on, oh man, I'm trying to think of like a movie, a show. Well, you turn on Ted Lasso, and it's like you're watching those soccer games, like on Ted Lasso. Like, oh my gosh, this is a sport. I don't know who's going to win. They know who's going to win. It's already been predetermined.
I think
so. That's not a sport.
But I think when you have superstars or WWE wrestlers who are actually athletes, and they're actually
doesn't make it a sport.
I don't think those actors are actually athletes. You got guys who were in the NFL who are now wrestlers.
Okay, but you got guys that were in the NFL that are now actors.
I mean, that's true.
Yeah,
but I still think they're athletes. But I don't think I'm watching.
I'm not saying they're like. I'm not telling you that Dwayne the Rock Johnson is not an athlete. That guy is definitely an athlete.
I think anybody.
I don't think that WWE is his athletics because again, well,
it is.
Or okay, it's athletic, but it's still not a sport because it's not a game.
Okay, it's athletic.
Yes,
and it is competition.
No,
it is.
No,
it is.
No,
it is.
No,
you have to.
No way.
You have to push and you have to compete for the spot that you get. You do.
Well, I mean,
Triple H will talk about that. He's the head of the creator, and he'll
sure.
talk about that, and he'll say you have to compete. So there is competition.
Yeah. But I think that there's the same competition as like with artists. Like, if you're going to be, for example, a good rapper, you've got to push. You've got to, I agree with you. You have to put yourself out there. You have to be writing. You have to be working. You have to be doing just like anything else. That. But like,
that's why I think sports entertainment is the perfect word for it. I think that's the perfect word for it. Because I think if you're saying it's not a sport in comparison to like the sport of basketball.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Right.
So it's not a sport, yeah. Thank you.
So, but it's sports. Heard it. But it's sports.
He's shaking my hand right now. You can't see it.
But it is sports entertainment. So I like what you said. I do like what you said. It's athletic, but it's not a sport. Because I'm not
downplaying it.
I think you're looking at it in the regards of like, it's not. It is listed as a sport.
Yeah,
like it is listed when you look at sports. It is listed as a sport,
right?
But I see what you're saying.
But it's not like it doesn't rank in the same as any other sport. Like
money says it does.
No, I'm saying like quality, because it's not a competition in the sense of there will be an objective winner at the end of it because it's already been predetermined. Yeah. So that's the same problem with like if the NFL is scripted, then it's no longer a sport. Even those guys are because then you have a predetermined outcome. So it's just entertainment.
So you don't think so even if it's predetermined, you don't think it could be a sport?
No,
really,
do not believe so because sport implies that there is an objective winner at the end of it.
Oh, okay, so you're looking at the definition differently,
right? You there has to be the potential of losing, like.
Well, someone loses,
right? But you lose it. Like nobody else determines it for you. So, for example, like I believe like hunting is a sport because you go out, you miss, you lost. Like that's it. It's you versus animal, and so
I see what you're saying.
Sport hunt, and then you add in
that definition.
You add in the competition of other people. Like my deer is better than yours. Whatever it is. That's like. There's a competition and a piece of sport in there. Now, where do you draw the line between sports and like board games? I don't know. Like are esports sports? I'm not sure. But
come on. I can't believe you compared it.
Well, listen, but I do believe that there's an objective winner at the end of that.
So if you're looking at it from that definition, I understand what you're saying.
Uh-huh.
I do understand that, but I'm only looking at it so for me, if I'm watching football and the outcome is determined, but they're still playing the game, to me that's still a sport.
What do you mean the outcome is determined? Like if it's scripted?
Yeah. To me, it doesn't take away from they're still out there competing.
No, they're not.
They are.
No, they're not.
They're doing something out there on the field. Like if they're tired and they're bleeding and they're doing things, like to me,
if it's scripted, it's not competing anymore.
But I don't understand how you take away from their actions on the field. How is that not the sport?
I think it's still impressive. Like again with the wrestling thing, I think it's impressive, but it's not competing. So for example,
not even in the act of competing can it be competing.
If you and I, we go out, we go play basketball, and I tell you, hey, Cody, here's the thing. You're going to win.
Okay.
I'm going to make sure you win.
Okay.
You are going to win.
Okay.
But I need you to play like it might be close.
Okay.
But you're going to win.
My body would still say I'm competing.
Okay, your body would say you're playing basketball.
But I don't understand.
Like, you're not competing, though, because you can't lose. Like, it's a surefire thing.
But I can lose. You're telling me that I can win or lose.
No, I'm saying you're going to win.
Someone is going to lose.
It's going to be me.
So you don't say that it's competition?
I'm no longer competing. Like, and neither are you. You are guaranteed to win. If I have to pick, the only competing I'm doing is if you can't make a shot and I have to pick you up and put you in the basket. All right?
This has went so far south. I love it. This has been the greatest.
I know. Well, oh my gosh, we're 45 minutes in on this thing.
They'll be okay.
All right.
So I guess I'm just I'm trying to I'm not worried about the outcome. So you're taking away the entire definition of competition because of the outcome, even though they are still in the act of competing.
No, they're not in the act of competing anymore.
They're in the act of playing.
They're playing.
So you're even taking the competition part out of sport.
Competition implies a winner and a loser that is going to be determined by the events on the field. Like, not determined in a writer's room. It's not a competition anymore if everybody knows who wins.
What about only the two people know who win? What if not everyone knows who knows?
Still don't matter. It's already determined.
So competition and sport are two different words.
Yeah. Now I would say if wrestling worked a way where if you and I were wrestling, we're wrestlers and we're going we're beating up on each other or whatever, and we hear in the crowd you're supposed to win.
Yeah.
But we hear in the crowd the way the crowd's reacting, we get to the point where it's like, hey man, all right, I need you to fall, and you're like, I'm going to fall because I know that it'll get the people excited. At that point, that feels more like competition because we weren't really sure what was going to happen.
That's what happens.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's what they say happens.
Okay, I don't think it. I think it used to happen that way. There ain't no way it happens now.
It happens under Triple H, for sure. Because he calls it. He calls it in the ref's ear, and the refs usually say, "Hey, you're going over."
Yeah, so
which means you're going to win.
Okay, so but Triple H though, he started in the 90s. Yeah.
So he's old school.
Yeah,
he's old school.
It was a different time.
Yeah, he's the reason why it's much better than it was with Vince McMahon, which we can get in. That's a whole nother episode.
Anyway, all right. So hey,
that's crazy.
This was fun.
This was good.
This is maybe the biggest debate we've ever had.
I love that, but I love that so it makes way more sense that you've separated competition and sport.
Yeah,
that makes way more sense.
Yeah, I see sports as competitions.
Okay,
not just athletic endeavors.
Okay, I see where you're at. I think we've come to common ground.
Have we?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that the listeners need to chime in. So, hey, if you're looking for a way to send an email and get us riled up, either, tell me I'm wrong and I will tell you you're wrong, or come after wrestling and watch Cody come unglued. So, completely unglued.
I love it.
But anyway, so
I just want you to know you knew where you were going with that for sure.
Oh, I did not know I was going to wrestling. I did not. I was trying to get you to come out and hate on the Olympics or hate on soccer.
I would have went farther on soccer had you not mentioned wrestling.
I don't think people care as much about wrestling or soccer. I'm sorry, as they do maybe about wrestling. I don't know. I could be wrong there too. Yeah. Anyway, we've been in the book Practicing the Way.
Yeah, man.
All right, so we are going to get to the practices and the nuts and bolts of the spiritual disciplines. But as I've read this. I've read up to I've read up to about half the book, and then I started listening to it.
Okay,
and so I've gotten to where I was reading. So I've gone through the first half of the book twice.
Okay,
and one of the things that has stuck out to me, it's this picture that John Mark Comer paints of a separation between followers of Jesus and people who are just in the crowd.
Yeah.
And he points that out in Jesus' life. There's people who are following him, his disciples, like the 12, but then there's all these other followers. And you got to remember too, when Jesus, he calls the 12 out of this bigger pool of followers at one point.
Yep.
So it gives us this indication that there are 12 guys that Jesus does life with. There's probably a few handful more people that are following Jesus around, kind of touring with him.
Yeah.
And then there's the crowds, and the crowds, they might show up to listen to him when he's in their hometown, but they're not going on tour following Jesus around.
Right.
So that for real, that's the picture I have.
Right.
Is that, when Taylor shows up in your hometown, you might go and watch her. But the crazy fans, the followers of Taylor Swift are following her
go around.
Yeah. They're following her to different cities and
eras.
Anyway, but, on a more spiritual side of that, we have Jesus. And so he has these 12 disciples, but then he has these other followers that are, he has these other followers, and then he has these people in the crowd.
Yeah.
John Mark Comer is like contextualizing that to our time, and he's saying there's people who are following Jesus, which is this practicing the way thing.
Yeah.
Where, I don't know if these are his words or if it's just like my way of making sense of it, but it's this idea that my sole focus in life is to pattern my life around the way of Jesus.
Yep.
It is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me, which means I'm going to die to self and put on the way of Jesus every day. I'm asking myself at the beginning and at the end of every day, am I more like Jesus than when I started?
Yeah.
And that's my goal.
Right.
So becoming like your rabbi, becoming a disciple who is, who is following Jesus and conforming their life around it. That's a follower.
I thought it was beautiful as well how, speaking on that, how he talks about the relationship between a rabbi and apprentice, and how we need to be apprentices of Jesus, because in those times they spent every waking moment with their rabbi, and they did what their rabbi did,
right?
And he's saying, if Jesus is the rabbi,
right,
the Messiah,
right,
the one we should be following, we need to be his apprentices, and we need to follow and do every single thing that he does,
and pattern our pattern our life,
pattern our life, right?
So that's following Jesus, But then there's this other piece of like the crowd, people who are interested in Jesus, might even believe some of what he says, but have really no intention of ever following Jesus,
right?
They like some of the things that he says, but they're not going to go out of their way to pattern their life after Jesus. And on page 15, he says that there is, like trying to measure spirituality is like a tricky thing. There's a bunch of surveys that people have compiled, especially here in the United States, that put our numbers at this. There are 63% of the population in the United States call themselves Christians. But only 4% call themselves apprentices or followers of Jesus.
For sure.
Have that intent to pattern their life after Jesus. 63% Christians.
Big difference.
4% following Jesus. Now,
wow.
How do they get to those numbers? I don't really know. Not my business. Is that accurate? Is it not? Maybe. But when I look around at the world and you think about, okay, if there were really 63% of the people in the United States, their goal was to wake up every day looking more and more like Jesus. I think things would look a little different.
For sure.
Right?
For sure.
I don't know. And more than looking a little different, I think that we would see our hope placed in something else.
Oh yeah, man.
If well over half of the people, 2/3 of the people in the United States, were in this world of what Jesus says and does matters more than anything else. And this is what my life is set on. I don't know. I think that things
different.
I think that the way that we place our hope in things would look different. So there's definitely a split there between Christians, followers of Jesus, which has its own kind of makes you uncomfortable, feels a little gross to say that there's a difference between Christians and followers of Jesus. But
I think it comes down, and you've heard, and I haven't went to this extreme, but you have people who even say, it never says I'm a Christian in the Bible. It talks about, maybe he even mentions this in the book, I'm not sure, but the word Christian is not in the Bible.
I think it actually, he says it comes up like 3 times or something.
And he talks about, or someone talks about, I'm a follower and I'm a disciple.
Oh yeah, Christian comes up 3 times. Apprentice comes up 269.
Right.
In the New Testament.
And there are people now who say, "Well, I'm not I'm not identifying as a Christian. I'm identifying as a follower of Jesus.
Yeah.
So I see that, and you see that split, and you're seeing it more and more.
Yeah.
It's
kind of like the difference between Catholics and practicing Catholics.
Absolutely.
Christian has kind of taken on a meaning of,
yes,
I
went to church 3 Easters ago.
This is what my family history believes in.
Right.
It's like crazy thing. This is like my first time I ever thought about this. I was in high school, and one of the girls in my class was filling out a survey before we took one of the standardized tests, and we're in high school. I mean, I think we're maybe juniors or something. Maybe it's for the ACT. Anyway, it's one girl in my class. She raises her hand and it says, "What should I put as my religion?"
Yeah.
And the teacher's like, "Well, what faith does you and your family practice?"
Yeah.
And she goes, "Oh, I don't know. I think it might be Methodists."
Yeah.
I think I have a grandpa who's a Methodist once.
Yeah.
We'll put down Christian.
There you go.
And I remember thinking to myself, I'm like, is this it? Is that really it?
Right. Yeah. And you have so many people who like, are you a Christian? I believe there's a God. You know what I mean? Like, well, so now we're looking at it and saying,
I don't know, man.
Now you can't stop at, are you a Christian?
Right.
Now you have to say, well, if you're getting deep with people, like, okay, what does your life look like? Are you living and following the way?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what like John Mark Comer is after here in that part of the book. And I just find it again, like it's striking, because you look around and you think, okay, 63%. If that's accurate, 63% of the population.
Yeah.
What's that look like in our church? Like, how many people are Christians and how many people are followers of Jesus in our church?
It's a great question.
I don't know. And what's that going to look like in the future? That's my bigger question. As we're guys that are in our mid 30s.
Yeah.
You're more mid than me.
I'm past mid. Thank you. I'm a little past mid.
What are you, like 36?
Yes.
That's still
you
mid.
You have to continue to remind me. I have a gray hair in my beard.
I have a gray hair in my beard. I have multiple gray hairs in my beard.
Do you really?
Yeah, it's terrible.
Bring it over here. Let me see.
No. Weirdo.
That's a good, because I think you see a lot of, and I don't want to sound judgmental, but you see a lot of people who will go to church who are just trying to check off that box of, hey, this is going to get me into heaven.
Well, and keep going.
And one of the quotes in the book is says, for salvation is less about getting you into heaven.
Oh yeah.
And more about getting heaven into you.
Right.
And I think that also kind of points to that split of how many people are just trying to check boxes to get into this place, and how many people are following and practicing this way to have our kingdom come, our will be done, as on earth as it is in heaven, like heaven in us.
Yeah, and that idea of the kingdom coming here now is like, what one of the things we're after.
Yeah,
that's it's not just a someday hope of eternal life,
right?
Right. It is life now and life to the fullest, and the kingdom coming here and now. Not that we can save the world,
right?
I don't think that's really what Jesus is after here. I mean, he intends to save the world,
right? Yes,
but I think that what he's saying is like the world that God created, the vision of the world that the Father had.
Yep.
Can't be fully realized in this lifetime, but the kingdom can arrive in such a way that you see symptoms of that vision taking root here.
Yeah.
And taking off.
Yeah. And it looks like how we cultivate our life and how we cultivate our relationships, our work, our everything that we do. What does that look like? And how are we just trying to miss hell?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or are we living because we were first loved? Are we living and loving because God lived and loved us?
Right.
And he's and he wants this relationship. He didn't want to just come and save us just so we could say we're missing hell. Yeah,
Right.
that's great. That's awesome. But yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know. There's like, I'm trying to figure out why we have such a split. Is it 63, 4%? Is that split because people don't want to take Jesus seriously? Is it because churches have lowered the bar? Is it because we have a misunderstanding of because the other thing is, especially you look at our generation and the generations that are coming up behind us, the Gen Z and Gen Alpha now, Gen Alpha, it's too early to tell, but the Gen Z and millennials, there's a lot of crossover there. There's a lot of value crossover there. So I think that if churches and Christians started to adopt this form of following Jesus and patterning our life after Jesus and saying, I don't have to like all of Scripture, but I'm going to believe it. Yeah. I'm going to believe it's true. Yeah. I don't have to believe it's historically accurate to believe it's true. There's a difference between being able to look at, for example, looking at Genesis and knowing that the truth is that God created the world, and it doesn't matter how many days it took, how many years it took, whatever. Right. That's inconsequential. But the truth is that this all came from God. Yep. And I believe that truth and I receive that truth. So if we're able to get to a place where Christians look at the word and they say, I believe all this is true. Yeah. Even if I don't understand it, even if I don't completely agree scientifically with the way that these things are laid out, right, I still believe that the word of God is true. Yeah. Meaning does that make sense? Meaning the core principle in it is true. Absolutely. So if I think that the rising generations of people will be more intrigued by something like that than fire insurance, because we don't seem to really, especially when you're young, there's not a lot of concern so much with what's next, because what's going on here and now seems to be pretty pressing. Yeah. And so if there was something where we were saying, hey, the here and now matters and it's good, and it's not just so that someday you can die and go to heaven and everything will be okay. There's actually the way of Jesus makes life better now. Yeah. I think it will be appealing to people.
I think sometimes, or not, sometimes too, and I'll say we because I'll put myself in this category for sure. I think sometimes we don't want to pick up our cross.
What do you mean?
I think that when Jesus talks about Paul mentions dying daily. Yeah. And what Jesus says, pick up your cross and follow me. I think there's going to be some suffering. I think the flesh is going to, what I mean by suffering is I think just we have to, there has to be a dying of the flesh. Yeah. There has to be a dying process for us. And I think that scares people. Yeah. And I think when people get really into it and you hear that, I need to give up this. And the closer you get to following, when you get into following Jesus and you realize, hey, I'm going to have to stop doing some things. Yeah. And what does picking up my cross look like daily? Yeah. There's a lot of people that don't want to do that. And I say that because I've been that person. Mm-hmm. I've not wanted to give up things. Right. I've not wanted my flesh to die. Yeah. So I think, that could also be where we're looking at a split, was when you get down to the brass tacks of it. Yeah. People don't want to pick up their cross. Sure.
Well, and I think though, and Emily and I were having a conversation about church stuff yesterday, and we kind of got to this place of what do you do with difficult scripture and people, and how does that really play into the future church? How do we deal with that? We're in a world right now with student ministry where you tell students stuff that they don't like about scripture. Yeah. And it really fairly inconsequential to their life. Like, they'll continue to come to church. They don't like it. Like, they don't like what Scripture says. Doesn't matter. They're still going to come to church.
Right.
You know, they don't agree with it. They're still going to come to church.
Yeah.
And we're not taking anything from them in that, because they're still welcome. They still have a place. They still have a small group. They still have all these things. But they don't have a lot of authority as a student in student ministry. Now, you flip that, and then when you start dealing with adults in that way, where it's like, hey, you know, what's the next step for you at church? You know, if you want to go from attender to being invested here, you're going to start to volunteer. Well, if you don't see eye to eye with Scripture, it's going to be tough for us to do that. And so, like, there is a tendency in church where we're trying to balance that of like, okay,
for sure, like
Cody likes church, but he apparently doesn't take Scripture seriously because he's doing this, and it's blatant and obvious that he's doing this thing. He doesn't take Jesus at his word when he says this is not the way that you ought to be living. You know, so what do we do with Cody in that situation? Well, he can greet, but he can't teach, right? Because you can't teach something if you don't take it seriously, right? Well, how long before Cody's like, oh, forget this trash, like, you know, but something dawned on me today while we were listening to Brian's message. I wrote some notes here, and it a lot of times, like, that picking up your cross thing, I know it's difficult for me. I'm still going to do it. Because I want to follow Jesus more than I want to be comfortable. So, and I don't like it.
No, absolutely not. I mean, no,
I don't like it. I don't want to. But I'm going to. Because I want to follow Jesus, and that's part of it. So I think that, like, the thought here was, like, my job isn't to make Jesus palatable, but to be honest about him. And it's not about my opinions, but his opinions. And so I got to trust that God will work with people in their tension if they desire to practice the way of Jesus. That's a hard thing to do. Like, I have to trust that God will work with people in their tension if they desire to practice the way. So the thought there is, like, there's two trusts. I have to trust God to work with people in tension, which somehow feels easier. Because the reason that I lower the bar and that we lower the bar, we try to make this more palatable, is that I don't trust people to stick with God in the midst of their tension. But that's not fair. That's not right. And what it ends up happening is we end up with a bunch of Christians and not a lot of Christ followers, because somebody at some point said, I don't trust you to take Jesus seriously enough to follow him. So I'm going to say, by proclaiming faith, that is all that Jesus has for you.
Wow.
And it might be enough to get you into heaven.
Wow.
But it is not enough to see the kingdom realized here on earth. It's just to claim that I believe that Jesus died on the cross for my sins.
That's powerful.
So, but again, I think that what has created this contradiction, I guess, in our culture, is that we feel like we have to, like, in the church, we feel like we have to make Jesus palatable. And
I wanted you to come back to that,
and
because I agree.
And I think it's not because there's a lot of things that insinuates. It insinuates that we don't find Jesus palatable ourselves. If we feel like we have to, we feel like we have to add a little extra,
true.
Barbecue sauce to Jesus, because nobody's going to like him otherwise.
That means, so
it's a pretty good revelation of our heart. But the other piece of it is that we feel like we have to make Jesus palatable because we just don't trust that people will be able to stick with him in the hard things. And the reality is it's not on us to decide that.
No, it's not.
And it's so hard. It's so hard to get to that place.
It is. I saw something, and this kind of tracks. It says it's not our job to feed the 5,000. We bring what we have, and Jesus takes care of it.
Right.
And I think that connects a little bit, because so many times we're trying to be out here saving people.
Yeah.
And it's not our job.
No.
You work out your own salvation.
Right.
And I think that when we take that pressure off of other people and ourselves, it's a big difference.
Oh, for sure.
Because Jesus doesn't need any help.
No.
He needs no help from us.
No.
So
he invites us to be a part of it.
He does.
Yeah.
He does. That's the thing. He wants us to be with him in what he's doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
Yeah, and so I think that like
it's powerful.
Yeah, coming into it, I guess the two convictions I have from this, number one, is like, are you just a part of the crowd, or are you a follower?
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
man.
Do I really want my life to look like the life of Jesus? In a lot of ways, yes.
Yeah.
And then there's other ways still.
Sure.
I'm working through it.
For sure.
Because, some of the stuff that he does with his life, I don't want to do with mine. Right.
Right.
It's just unfun. And more than unfun, it's uncomfortable.
It's uncomfortable.
It's and it puts me in situations that I don't want to be in.
Yeah, man.
So that's always challenging.
Yeah.
So but the reality is I want to follow Jesus.
Yeah.
My intent is that when I get to heaven, I recognize him, not just as the guy who died for me, but as my friend who I've been patterning my life after, like the one that I've been seeking to follow. I want to be able to pick his identity out from the crowd, not because he's wearing the bright, shiny white robe, but because I've become, through scripture and prayer and through just the sitting in with Jesus, through leaning in with my own life and loving the way that Jesus loves and trying to produce the fruit of the Spirit, like watch my life yield the fruit of the Spirit through being more attuned to what God's doing rather than what I want to do. My hope is that when I get to meet Jesus face to face, he's not a stranger.
Yeah, man.
Which would be great.
Right.
Which would be really cool.
And I think we live in such a my way, my wants, do what you want, don't do what you don't want.
Right.
Be who you are type of,
it's like, is that hedonism? Is that like,
yeah, maybe.
Isn't hedonism is like just full on pleasure. Like,
I
do what
so.
makes you happy.
I think so.
You
Yeah, and that is such a everywhere you look, and even in the American churches.
Yeah.
You see a lot of that. Like they've almost taken "come as you are" to a whole new extreme, and it's almost ruined that for, like, you know what I mean? It's almost ruined that. Like, but like you're missing the point. Well, you're going too far with it.
Come as you are, but don't stay there. Like,
but don't stay there.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
That's,
exactly. That's good.
And you got to, and I love that, especially if you look at the disciples.
Yeah.
And Jesus is inviting these people to come follow him.
Yeah.
How sad would it have been if Peter would have never changed at all?
Right.
If Matthew would not have changed at all, if Jesus died and Matthew would have went right back to his tax collecting ways of stealing from people.
Right.
I
don't think we talk about enough, like, Jesus says, "Follow me," and they do it.
Yeah.
But we don't talk, like, it's what I know it wasn't easy for them, and it couldn't have been. This was their livelihood. This is what they were used to. This is what they were comfortable with. So there had to be some, uncomfortable, and there had to be some tension there.
Yeah.
And a lot of them died.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they were killed for this.
Yeah.
And
all of them.
Yeah. So we're not getting killed for it.
No.
I mean, there is persecution.
Yeah.
And
we're
sure.
not here.
But not here.
Yeah.
And so we don't talk about that enough. Like there is an uncomfortableness that's going to come from following Jesus. There is going to be that. There is going to be that tension of what we want to do and what we don't want to do and what we're comfortable with. So that, man.
Yeah. And so I don't know what I think that what I want people to get from this conversation, and as we dive deeper into practicing the way and kind of unpacking this book, we really want you to take like a long, hard look in the mirror.
Yeah.
And ask that question, am I part of the crowd?
Yeah.
Or am I a follower? Like, and do I have the desire to be a follower? And trying to tap into that. And then, the logical next step of that is to figure out who Jesus is and start living like him.
Yeah.
There's, I'm not going to try to find it. I might actually try to find it. While I'm doing that, you got anything you're thinking about as it pertains to this?
I just think when you're talking about looking in the mirror, because I thought about that earlier, look in the mirror and think to yourself, am I part of the crowd or am I a follower? I think that we have to be prepared to see something we may not like. And maybe that's why we're so uncomfortable with getting closer and following Jesus, because the closer we are to him, the more things are revealed.
Yeah.
And we don't like that.
Right.
I know I didn't like that. I still don't like that. But when we do that hard look, we're not looking at anybody else. When you're looking in that mirror, what's staring back at you is who you are and what you are and what you're, so we have to take away what everybody else is doing, and we're looking at ourselves. Mm-hmm. And that's a very uncomfortable and hard thing to do.
Yeah.
And that's a heart work.
Yeah.
A heart work that, it gets deep.
Yeah. The thing I was thinking about here is this critical journey that he talks about. And it's developed by some people at Fuller Theological Seminary, but they talk about these stages. And stage 1 is a recognition of God. Stage 2 is life of discipleship.
Yeah.
Stage 3 is productive life. Then there's this wall that we typically run into after there, because he says that most Christians never mature beyond stage 3, which is basic level maturity. But let's move on to stage 4 is journey inward.
Yep.
Stage 5 is the journey outward. And stage 6 is life of love. And then that means that you are patterning your life around the love of Jesus and you're loving other people.
Yeah.
So that's like the critical journey laid out, and that's such a roadmap. And I find it so easy or interesting though too, because like recognition of God, life of discipleship, productive life, those first 3 stages.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 stages like on a church level that we can pull those levers. We can create those opportunities. We can create those stepping stones. It's like, we're going to teach you who God is every week.
Absolutely.
We're going to give you places that you can experience discipleship through groups and through resources and through more teaching and through all these other things.
Yep.
And then we're going to give you some level of productive life through service.
Yep.
And
for sure.
And people hit those first 3 and it's great. But then after that, the wall is that the church can't do the next part for you.
That's right. That's right.
Now, could we do some different things to resource people?
Sure.
With the journey inward, the journey outward, and then this life of love. Yeah, we could. Yeah. There's probably some resourcing that could be happening. But ultimately, that's a difficult thing that you have to choose to do on your own.
That's it. And that's where I think a lot of that split we're talking about comes from is, because that's a very, it took me years to want to do that.
Yeah.
It took me years to, and you know what? Some people don't know that they don't want to do it. They don't know. Some people don't want to do it. Some people don't know they don't want to do it.
Right.
It's just, they're living their life and this is what I'm wanting to do. And nothing's in the way of that.
Yeah. And I'm trying to figure out where I'm at and all of that as well.
Me too. I'm sitting
there, criticizing myself and where am I at in this? Am I in the journey inward? Am I in the journey outward? I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
I feel like the first 3 stages are pretty easy, or am I just sitting on the wall? Is that I don't know.
I was thinking the same thing when you were saying it. I was like, where am I?
Yeah. But anyway, I hope that this was compelling for people. I hope it was interesting. I hope it sets up like some interest in the rest of the book. I would encourage you to pick it up.
Please.
It should upset you. It should offend you. It should step on your toes.
Yes.
Because it means that it's working. When I look at this book, when I read this book, when I listen to this book, I don't like a lot of what he has to say, not because it's not true, but because it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And that's important.
It's good.
And you have to deal with those uncomfortable things. And remember, the uncomfortable things are about you and not just your neighbor.
John Mark Comer, man.
Yeah.
John Mark Comer.
Yep. Anyway, that's what I got for.
That's beautiful stuff. It is a beautiful book. I love it. I'm glad we're going through it. So.
Cool.
Yeah, man.
What an episode.
Dude, it's been great.
Got an argument about wrestling.
Dude, I loved it.
Talked about some other sports things.
I felt so much love.
Did you?
Yeah, man. I thought that was a really good moment.
I love you, even if you've got terrible opinions about
Dude,
wrestling.
you like magic.
I do like magic.
Listen,
you know what magic is not? It's not a sport.
It's fake.
It's not. It is 100%
fake.
Yeah, it's art though.
Exactly.
Yep.
So we're on the same page.
Yeah. Anyway,
hey, you like magic and I like wrestling, and I love you.
I love you too, buddy.
Dude, man, you're the best friend. You're the best friend I've ever had.
Oh, you're gonna put that out there in front of everybody?
I did.
Oh,
Sorry,
man. You got a lot of friends that are listening to this.
That's true. That is true.
So,
whatever.
You're ridiculous. Tell the people what they want to hear.
I want to know you more clearly. I want to follow you more closely.
Yeah.
And I want to love you more deeply.
Yeah.
This is the Bad Apples Podcast.
Oh, woof. Is that it?
That's it.
We're done?
That's all I got.
Okay.